because we find out that this is something we must have. And the first thing we had to tackle is the architecture, how we can scale up, alongside with this level of complexity.
No more having results very quickly helps the team fixing and pushing again without missing the delivery slot. So yeah, evaluation is a custom process.
Yes.
You cannot have a standard evaluation for the whole market, for all companies, for all teams. Hi everyone, I'm today with Alaa. We're enjoying some nice moment together, and we were talking about how we created LevelApp and what was the history of this adventure we had together. So Alaa, we had this
Yes.
nice experience. Do you remember what was the first step?
Because we find out that this is something we must have actually alongside a project that we've been investing on. And you can maybe tell us more about the beginning. And
yes. Actually, just to put the context in place, we had a very big project with a client with huge pressure for time to market. They have to push this solution very quickly. It was a big multi-agent solution with many tools, many steps in the workflow. And we had some pressure on the quality because this is something that will talk directly to final users. And we were in a rush each time. We had to push a new version. So I think you proposed something at the beginning.
Yeah.
What was the first version of our quality process?
Yeah, the first version had to actually synchronize with the product in that phase. So alongside, while we adding the complexity, we evolved. But when we just started, it was the idea about how to cover a message, how we can assure that this message is actually what we need. So the funny enough, we just rushed to create a simple note, but with the idea of exporting, because sharing is big part of what we need. Yeah. It was a small notebook, and the final output was a CSV file.
And what was doing the notebook exactly? What was
the notebook eventually, just looping through static scenarios. Those static scenarios are moving toward a module that was very simple, but yet gives you an idea. The mechanism, we can talk about them later, but the idea is just to give you whether this message is exactly what you need or not. But it was very simple and not quite accurate at the beginning.
So it was a notebook calling an API, basically, getting information. And what was the outcomes from
the outcomes was yes or no. That's funny enough. It was yes or no. Literally, it was yes or no.
And scenario accepted, or
scenario accepted. We had actually to add some few words, to the stakeholders, since yes or no, it's not actually enough for them. But with the idea of providing them more, because at the same time we were working on that product, but simultaneously internally working on this product that can be standalone. So this is when the idea started to evolve, since the quality at that time, as we said, we started small in the project. Also, we started small in this LevelApp tool. So it gives us more chance to scale up while also having the use case synchronized with it, and that's big part of what we had.
And by the way, the first step was taking some metrics, computing the metrics directly in Excel, and just pushing high-level vision about the full scenarios processing. And we felt that we need to go further. So we started building more specific metrics to the use cases.
Yeah, at that moment, when we were talking about metric, honestly, it was an open discussion, since every aspect, just to give also another context. So as we said previously, it's an API directly call. So the API actually doesn't contain only the message. In that aspect, we had also to include other metrics to cover the other parts of the API. And with that in mind, we started with the small metrics, I remember back then, alongside with evaluating the actual message, which was the metrics, I think we got rouge, blue. So these were the basic one. And there was no customization in it at that time.
At that moment, it was pretty abstract for the client. So you started thinking of how to bring the evaluation to the quality team. It's in the client side. So how was this process?
Honestly,
conducted?
working on the app, like the LevelApp itself, working on the project, since both complexity were getting bigger and bigger, we had to find an automated way. Like we had to include something that the user also can be onboarded on that tool, and they can do this job. So this means, like the obvious thing was providing them a solution, like a web solution, so they can easily onboard the project, they can easily run those tests, and they can easily check the evaluation, results. So the idea was creating a simple app. With the first level of customization was actually in the scenario making, since scenario, which is, by the way,
they were static.
They were static, and they were covering small parts of the discussion. But now, by creating this, what we call it a scenario builder. This scenario builder is one of the biggest modules, let's say, we had a focus on, which is by letting the user mainly, control every aspect of the API by just inputting every message with the expected message, with the metadata, with the expected metadata. So that was the first part, and we tested, and actually it worked, since it gave us more freedom and control.
Sorry. And by the way, you added also the guardrails control.
Yeah.
What is this exactly? Why we need this?
So apart from evaluating the actual received content and what was expected, there was another case. Close our eyes too, which is, since we are talking about AI agents, hallucination, also other parts that should be noticed on a test. The guardrail is a concept. So mainly when the AI agent actually stops the discussion, or it detects something that shouldn't be happening. So the idea was, how are we gonna introduce that in LevelApp?
Excellent.
And we had very simple approach at the beginning, which is by utilizing a metadata that is inboard in the API. But later we'll see, of course, how we evolved into something more freely to control.
We used to call that before, online evaluation or things like that. So we call that more today guardrails. It's a concept to decide when to stop the AI. And evaluating that, of course, as you said, is
if
critical.
It stops or not, because that's the idea.
Because it has to stop.
Yeah.
Because this is critical. We're sending things to the users that can create confusion if the AI is not bringing clarity in the answer, or giving basically wrong answer or hallucinations. So this is what was clearly a big step in the evaluation. And can you tell me about the scale, and what was the problem with testing a lot of scenarios at once?
Honestly, we could dedicate a whole episode, just to talk about the issues faced. But honestly, we started tackling the major one at the beginnings. So scalability was a big part of this issue, since when we gave the user the freedom to customize their scenarios, mainly this make us vulnerable toward, the user will create tens of scenarios, because just quick explanation of what is a scenario.
Multi-turn,
it's a multi-turn conversation. So eventually every turn is represented by a block that you have to control completely. So the number of blocks is actually not determined. The user can freely add as many messages, as many turns as he wants. So the scalability was a big issue, since we are reaching or simulating a call to their API service. So this actually can take us a lot of times, also with internet interruption, with many issues that can be, and tracing can be also an issue, trying to find the issue where
it hits limits exactly. Sometimes. So you have to manage all this. And by the way, you are not running a scenario only once.
Multiple scenarios, and each scenario contains multiple turns, and actually multiple times. This is another thing. So the idea is that we wanted to run a batch-like, so it's running a couple of times. The number of attempts also is totally configurable by the user, and again, this has made us vulnerable to this, making overload for our system, especially at that level. So the idea is we address this issue. And honestly, we gathered some of the team members who were actually, having that vision of scalability for a while. And the first thing we had to tackle is the architecture. How we can scale up, alongside with this level of complexity.
So no more static app.
No more static app. And we started adding, a couple of components. We've been, adding these components. It gave us, the asynchronous way of doing stuff. So you are not I can give you maybe even an estimation of how far it helped us. It's like reducing, first of all, the time of running a test. Let's say it was taking almost like 30 minutes at the beginning, but now it was taking 3 minutes. So you can see how much, just by changing a small component of the architecture, it improves a lot in terms of scalability.
I can confirm that. I mean, sometimes for some big deliveries, we can have several rounds of testing.
Yeah.
So clearly having results very quickly helps the team fixing and pushing again without missing the delivery slot. So yeah, very relevant and very handy feature. And can you explain how you manage to give more visibility, more understanding to people that are not techie, people that are in the quality side, to understand what were the problems faced by the agents, and to drill down also, to go to the specific points easily. Yeah.
So to tackle this point, we had to think first of all about dashboard reporting. So how we can actually expose those evaluation results into some valuable insights for them, to help them actually quickly assess the situation and make the fixes and run again, of course. So that will make easy comparison between the every test. So we have two aspects. The first one, as I said, was a useful dashboard that contains all necessary elements that are needed, such as the guardrail reporting, the extraction, which is a big part of our evaluation mechanism, the classification alongside with it, and of course the generation. And adding all that, we've added another layer of LLM as a judge, and this one is actually the benefit of it, alongside with the metric. It cannot be standalone, since probably many debates on it, but the way we are using it is differently. Actually, we are using the power of human language on the reporting aspect, adding another signal to the already used metrics, having at final a well-organized report with quite good insight that helps them moving forward.
Definitely. Maybe last point I want to discuss with you, and the developers in the team were using a lot the evaluation daily basis and several times a day. And you had with the team this idea of better integration of the LevelApp with their daily development cycle.
Yeah.
And bringing that to them into their code, finally, into their GitHub.
Yeah.
So how was the
idea was, simple suggestion, but it turns out to be one of the let's say the biggest add-ons we had on the product, honestly, since as we said, like, we've been building the product, and so we are representing the development team, and we have also another actor, which is the business stakeholders, that we already covered them by giving them quite good and insightful remarks. But for the developer, it was a hard process for them, since they had to build those scenarios, they had to create those reports, it wasn't meant for developer, but more for the business related people.
QA team.
QA team. So we created this concept of integrating this within the CI/CD pipeline.
Excellent.
So allowing easily for developers to run the evaluation core. This is, by the way, something we will talk about later, but the idea is there is a specific part of the LevelApp we had, which is the core. This one is connected directly and integrated into the CI/CD pipeline, giving the developer, easy and quick solution to assess very basic scenarios that were predefined already by the business stakeholders. So they don't have to write those scenarios, but more like using the scenarios that the business stakeholder already confirmed and proved.
Okay.
So this is the idea.
Quickly.
Having the feedback already in the pipeline, in PR, so it was a very good addition indeed.
Very, very. I know that this is the most interesting feature for developers. They're always asking for having more in this PR report.
Yes.
So excellent. And of course, the nice news is this. Part of this LevelApp is now open source, so we'll have clearly we feel that we have something interesting that can help a lot of teams reaching the production with the high level of reliability. So
Absolutely, yeah.
hopefully we'll have some contributors also, some users.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll have definitely another chat about the open source.
Yes, honestly, we will be covering a lot of topics, honestly, and we already start publishing a few documentations. Like you can easily now start getting onboarded in the concept of LevelApp, and especially mentioning the importance of it. So, like the concept itself is still starts to be more relevant lately, but there is no doubt that this is what the future going. You know, like the agent, the AI agent, and all are becoming, the main talk. But evaluating is always, on the side, because it's not joyful. Let's bring it to the top. It's not joyful, but
and
it's a must.
As we say every day, I mean, evaluation is a custom process.
Yes.
You cannot have a standard evaluation for the whole market, for all companies, for all teams.
Absolutely.
There is a specific part that you need to build. So our job is to ease this custom evaluation to people that are willing to go to production with multi-agent. So
yes, absolutely.
thank you very much.
Thank you, Jawad.